Part 21. The heroine who wears fast is really a boss. Author, Ruo Shui 1111. Chapter 201. In order to ensure the safety of the operation, Taoran made several arrangements. The best situation is for the police to handle and bring an end to this matter. Then they can easily remove Zhou Qingqing and the group behind her first. So tonight, when those gangsters started partying, the first thing Taoran and Wang Shu had to do was wait for the police to arrive. While the other party was in a mood, they quietly locked the door, and Taoran even dragged a long table to block the door. The two gritted their teeth and caused some seemingly serious skin injuries. Especially Wang Shu, he was very cruel to himself. He directly scratched his forehead on the windowsill, and a cut appeared. Suddenly, blood dripped from his head, which even shocked Taoran. She opened her mouth but said nothing. Father Wang's leg is not irreversible, but it will require several surgeries. The harder Wang Shu attacks himself, the smoother his future claims will be. If she were in this situation, she would choose to do this. When the gangsters came up and tried to take away Chen Yi, both Taoran and Taoran stood behind the table, ready to push the door with all their strength. They knew the police must be close by. They can delay it for a while. Their luck is good. When he heard the sudden noise, footsteps, and the scolding of "Don't move," Wang Shu fell directly to the corner, while Taoran took 3 steps at a time and hid in the cabinet. The actress's acting skills were only less than 10 within seconds. I shed tears and cowered. When the police broke the door, they saw 2 miserable people. Taoran purposely did not untie the rope on Wang Shu's body. Likewise, it was a bitter trick. Of course they had a second plan. In fact, during that time, the 2 of them were highly nervous. If the gangsters from outside were asked to break down the door before the police arrived, then they would have no choice but to proceed directly to Plan B. That's a head-on confrontation. Once he found that the door could not hold up, Taoran had to untie Wang Shu first, and then the 2 of them worked together to push out. Both of them can fight, and they should have no problem catching them by surprise when faced with a bunch of delirious people outside. They had already made arrangements. As soon as they made a move, Father Wang's brothers who were waiting outside would show up to respond. Although their manpower is still insufficient compared to the other party, they are sober enough and can cooperate internally and externally. Moreover, they are not trying to kill, but to control the situation. They are mainly delaying time and waiting for the police. At that time, no matter how powerful the opponent is, they will only need to puncture the tires of the opponent's cars, and the custody will make it impossible for any of them to fly. Just in case, if the other party is stronger than they expected, they will also prepare a lot of sirens in the car, and then arrange for people to drive around in a circle, keeping those guys scared to death and just run away. No matter what else. At the same time, the movement can immediately alert the security guards in the entire industrial zone. Of course, Taoran also took precautions against Wang Shu and his men. She never informed the driver of his existence from beginning to end, nor did she tell Wang Shu who was connected to the evidence she kept. When Taoran was caught alone in the warehouse, she also considered that if Wang Shu temporarily cancelled the cooperation and withdrew with his brothers, she would have to face it alone. At that time, she was lying on the ground and quietly told the driver that when the other party's other gang arrived, if Wang Shu was not mentioned in the surveillance recording, or if the other party said Wang Shu was not caught or Wang Shu ran away, then he called the police immediately. In addition, Taoran had also regularly sent her monitor cloud address and password to Chen Jian and Uncle Zhong via email. She bluntly told them that if they saw this email, it would mean that she was in danger. There is her location in the cloud disk, please rescue her in time. She sent the email at almost 5 o'clock in the afternoon. There was no movement from Wang Shu at that time, so she checked the time and figured that the other party would not complete all the actions so quickly. The real crisis would probably be at night, so she scheduled the sending time at night. 9:30. So if something happens to the driver, she still has two final helpers, Chen Jian and Uncle Zhong. She didn't believe that she would be so unlucky. All the above arrangements would lead to accidents. When Wang Shu had not been caught and she was lying alone on the floor of the warehouse, feeling sleepy, she also thought about it. What if she was really possessed by a degenerate spirit? Could she really be ruined? She denied herself then. She will not accept her fate. With fists, you can fight, with legs, you can run, and with a mouth, in addition to eating, you can also cheat. The other party didn't know that she didn't have any Chinese medicine, let alone that she knew her legs and feet, and knew a little bit of fighting. She could attack when she showed weakness and catch him by surprise. She was very confident about this. Ever since Zhou Qingqing kicked her in the warehouse, she had wanted to backhand her, grab Zhou Qingqing, choke her and make her a hostage. If there was not too little evidence collected at that time, if she hadn't heard that the other party was still active, and if Niu Tiantian hadn't shown up yet, she almost wouldn't have suppressed her anger. She was able to outrun Wang Shu when she first came to this world, but this time she is even more fearless. Moreover, she had been running long-distance running for a full year and a half in order to lose weight and improve her physical fitness. She didn't believe that a person with such low-level hobbies and dizzy spells could still outrun her. However, all arrangements went smoothly. She was right. Wang Shu, like his father, was trustworthy. He protected her from the beginning and trusted her until the very end. The driver who has been helping her for the past year is also very moral. Ever since he found out that she was a well-known young girl in the city who stood up to the media when she was bullied and called for resistance to violence, the driver has always looked at her differently. He also has a daughter at home, and of course he knows how difficult it is for a girl without a mother. Therefore, a long time ago, he stopped mentioning money in front of Chen Yi, and he showed a little more sincere care every time he was hired. This time he followed carefully, for fear of being discovered, so his car did not dare to stop nearby. Instead, he ran around the abandoned factory from a distance, with headphones hanging on his ears all the time, for fear of being discovered. If you are not careful, the girl will be in danger. If the girl hadn't whispered to him several times to wait, he probably wouldn't have been able to bear the urge to call the police and notify Chen Jian. He felt uneasy and called a few friends who were driving to help him come to the nearby area to pick him up. The same goes for Chen Jian. Through surveillance, it was discovered that his daughter did not come home after going out. Although his daughter sent a message emphasizing that she would solve some difficult problems at a classmate's house, he was worried. When his daughter didn't reply at 8 o'clock, he asked Lao Zhong to look for her. After calling the community surveillance system and discovering that his daughter was driving the car with a fake license plate that Lao Zhong helped investigate, he immediately asked Lao Zhong to call the police and asked an acquaintance of the police chief for help. So within a few minutes of the driver calling the police integrated all the information. In this way, the police arrived in time. Zhou Qingqing and the gang behind her were all arrested without running away. The police launched a large search in the factory. Soon, they found shady medicines in several takeout boxes. In the warehouse, they also found many fake ID cards, fake documents, and even sticks and knives. The heroine who wears fast is really a boss. Author, Ruo Shui 1111. Chapter 202. The crimes of Zhou Qingqing and Niu Yixin's gang were listed more and more. Kidnapping a sure thing. Not only to Chen Yi, but also to Wang Shu. His family also called the police and handed over a surveillance video showing Wang Shu being taken away. Niu never imagined that in Wang Shu's shabby community, the dark stairways and walkways would be installed with probes in advance, and the entire process of how they surrounded Wang Shu and forcibly towed away the traffic jam in the evening was filmed. Wang Shu also submitted that a few days ago, the group had sneakily appeared to monitor many times, but this time the other party had not escaped. Medication. The wristband submitted by Chaoran and the water bottle in the car that had not been destroyed are also conclusive evidence. In addition, a lot of various obscure drugs were found in the abandoned factory. The existence of these things is illegal. Now the police have begun to investigate the source of those drugs and want to find out the drug suppliers as well. Injury, those people couldn't explain it clearly. No one believed that the injuries on Wang Shu and Chen Yi were caused by themselves. The more the police searched, the more information they found. Gathering people to gamble, harboring illegal knives, using fake license plates, etc. In addition, Chaoran also charged him with several crimes, seeking wealth and killing, and extortion. The camera has been found, and a large number of ugly photos of Chen Yi have been taken inside. The police officers are also very frightened. They think about the gangsters' attempt to knock on the door and scream when they arrive. If it is later, this girl will not only be destroyed, but also be afraid of being raped. The material taken will be manipulated for a lifetime. They took pictures of me to blackmail me in the future. Several of them said they wanted to kill Wang Shu and me. They also transferred all my money. 100,000 yuan. Chaoran specially transferred this money to his balance today, just waiting to add a definite charge to them. Facts have proved that it is extremely wise. How could that bunch of rotten people let go of $100,000 being offered to them? The transfer record is there, don't miss it. However, Chaoran did not submit the most crucial and complete recording that proved that all actions were inseparable from Zhou Qingqing. She asked the driver and Wang Shu not to mention it for the time being. She still has to fish with that thing. Although Zhou Qingqing successfully got a chance to go home, he was controlled by police officers throughout the process. She didn't have the chance to find Chen Yi's admission ticket in person. After getting her ID, she was taken to the hospital for examination and then to the police station. She could only ask questions, pretend to be dumbfounded, and maintain the victim attitude throughout the process. It is true that no one can stop her from taking the high school entrance examination, and her status as a minor also makes the police unable to do anything to her, but she has not been able to stop Chen Yi. Ma Xiaozu almost turned Chen Yi's room upside down, but could not find the examination certificates. So today, one Chen Yi and Zhou Qingqing took the exam under police protection, and the other took the exam under police guard. Chaoran knew that the other party was going to attack him, and he had already been prepared for the other party to disrupt his exam. So she quietly asked her class teacher Han Mingli early in the morning to help her save her ID and other items. Han Mingli had high hopes for Chen Yi and kept it secret and properly kept. So when Chaoran arrived at the examination room, Han Mingli had been waiting for a long time and quickly gave her the fully prepared examination package. During the 3 days of the exam, Chaoran's safety came first and he never went home. On the night of the accident, she chatted with Chen Jian for half an hour and successfully persuaded Chen Jian not to rush back to the city and continue to deal with the aftermath of his business elsewhere. She also asked Uncle Zhong to arrange for her to stay in the police station guest house. As for Zhou Qingqing, she had to be investigated in addition to taking exams. She was at the police station in the exam room almost every day at 2 o'clock and on the line, making Ma Xiaozu rush around like a headless fly. After several trips to the police station, Ma Xiaozu almost collapsed. For 3 whole days, she was running around, looking for connections, looking for lawyers, begging Chen Jian. After the exam on the 3rd day, Chaoran suddenly returned home, accompanied by Uncle Zhong and others. After she entered the door, she was startled by Chen Chao, who was losing his temper. It turned out that Ma Xiaozu went to the police station, and Chen Chao and her aunt were the only ones at home. "What are you afraid of?" "I'll pack some luggage." Chaoran asked Uncle Zhong and others to wait for her downstairs, and then entered his room. The aunt knew little about everything, so she followed her to the door and wanted to persuade Chen Yi, Qingqing shouldn't be that kind of person. Chaoran smiled at her, but turned on his phone and played part of the recording for her. There was a shouting in the car, a threat in the warehouse and a plan to destroy Chen Yi in the room. Looking at the dumbfounded aunt, Tao Ran smiled. Did you recognize Zhou Qingqing's voice? You also know what she did to me. I won't hide it from you, this recording was made just after I finished the exam. Come sort it out. I will submit it to the police station this afternoon. By then, Zhou Qingqing will be completely finished. After collecting her luggage, she walked towards Chen Qiao step by step without shying away from her aunt who was watching. You, what are you going to do? If you dare to bully me, I won't let you go, Chen Qiao bared his teeth. Kid, you should worry about yourself. You and your mother will be driven away by my father soon. Put it right. I am the most precious thing to my father. Even if Zhou Qingqing does something wrong, it has nothing to do with me and my mother. Stop lying to me. Fatty. When have I lied to you? Let me tell you, not only will my father drive you three away, but your mother will probably not get any money when she gets out. You're talking nonsense. Do you know why my dad didn't divorce your mom? Tao Ran started talking nonsense seriously. Because my dad has been dealing with his and your mother's property after marriage, just to drive your mother away at the minimum cost. I might as well tell you that your mother won't get anything after their divorce. Tao Ran smiled and sat down on the sofa. You don't have a share in the house. You don't have a share in the cash. You don't have anything to do with the company. Not only are you three likely to leave empty-handed, but my father will also sue your whole family. Your mother may even have to accompany Zhou Qingqing will go to jail together. It's all nonsense. She made it up. She's just scaring kids. Perhaps her expression was too real. At this time, Chen Qiao's face was pale, his eyes were watery, and he looked aggrieved. He was obviously convinced. From now on, your mother won't be able to become a rich lady, and you won't be able to be your young master. You will have to rent a shabby house to live in. Tao Ran glanced at the 5 dishes and 1 soup on the table. Meals like this are no longer possible. Let alone toys. This is not the worst part. She spread her hands and crossed her legs. Your mother is going to go in, and you will become an orphan. Do you know what happens to orphans? No one will take care of you then, and you will have to be sent to an orphanage. Do you know the children in the orphanage? People with such a bad temper like you will suffer a lot there. You're talking nonsense. You're talking nonsense. Chen Qiao couldn't help it anymore. He couldn't stand it anymore. He rushed up and beat Chen Yi. Tao Ran wouldn't be at a disadvantage, so he just held his hands down. I'm not talking nonsense. Do you think I'm just trying to scare you with a child because I'm idle? If you don't believe it, you can just wait and see. I dare to say these things, and I dare to wait and see if they come true. After saying that, Tao Ran unexpectedly stretched out his hand, grabbed a few of Chen Qiao's hair, and pulled it out fiercely. She pushed Chen Qiao away, dragged the box away. She didn't believe it. She had been forced to this point and Ma Xiaozu could still keep her composure. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The heroine who wears fast is really a boss. Author, Ruo Shui 1111. Chapter 203. Tao Ran left. Chen Qiao cried loudly, and his aunt was also frightened. She quickly followed Chen Yi a few steps, closed the door and locked it from the inside. The moment she closed the door, she saw Chen Yi handing some of Chen Qiao's hair to Uncle Zhong. The nanny continued to look at the peephole and saw that Uncle Zhong carefully put the hair into a bag and sealed it for storage. Ma Xiaozu was in a good mood and rushed back. With great difficulty, she used her daughter's age as a guardian and went to the police station with her lawyer to complete the procedures so that her daughter could finally go home temporarily. But before she got home, she received a crying call from her son. As soon as she entered the house, her son's nonsense frightened her. What? Does Chen Yi have any conclusive evidence about her daughter that has not been handed over to the police? Chen Yi pulled out several hairs from her son's head. Chen Jian has been planning to drive himself penniless. For a moment, Ma Xiaozu didn't know which of these three had shocked and impacted her more. Shut up first, Ma Xiaozu pushed her son away. Auntie, tell me bit by bit. Start talking when Chen Yi gets home. Don't omit every word or movement. Say it from the beginning. The aunt said everything bit by bit, and even the words in the recording were 90% learned. After hearing this, Zhou Qingqing sat down on the ground, then hugged Ma Xiaozu's legs and begged, "Mom, help me. I was tricked by Chen Yi, and she recorded me from beginning to end. I seem to have said a lot of nonsense. That's not all. I also said what my dad did. If these recordings are released, their crimes will not be as serious as mine. No matter how much money you have, you can't find a scapegoat. In a criminal case, even though I was young, I still had to be arrested. They won't let me go. After I came out of this level, there was nothing. Mom, please help me." Ma Xiaozu was also dumbfounded. The reason why the daughter was brought home was because she was involved in the least amount of crimes. But as soon as the evidence came out, the daughter became the culprit. There was no way to clean up after this hammering. "Mom, look for Dad. I want to find my dad. We have to stop Chen Yi and not let her send the evidence to the police station." Zhou Qingqing swallowed, found the phone and started calling. Ma Xiaozu opened her mouth but did not stop Zhou Qingqing. "She has a headache. Auntie, Chen Yi really said that her father has been handling the marital property in order to divorce me." Auntie nodded. Ma Xiaozu was panicked. "Only if you have money can you survive, and only if you have money can you do things easily. If you don't have money, what's the point of living? Divorce is not scary, divorce without money is scary. What makes her anxious is that she doesn't know which part of the property Chen Jian disposed of, and what reasons and methods he used. This city is Chen Jian's territory. She has no foundation. If she really wants to file a divorce lawsuit, it will be difficult for her to get a bargain. She has heard many stories about people transferring their property and the other party finally left the house. Although Chen Guo doesn't miss his old relationship, does he plan to do this to himself? She really needs to do something." The aunt hesitated and added, "After Chen Yi left, I saw that the room was messed up by her, so I went in and took a look, and saw this on the bed." The aunt handed over a leaflet. Ma Xiaozu started to feel dizzy after just one glance. It was a flyer from a testing agency, advertising paternity testing. Chen Yi took away her son's hair and went for an appraisal. Does she know something or is she doubting it? Ma Xiaozu's temples twitched. If Chen Jian knew that his son was not his, not only would the marriage be divorced, but he would also not let him go. Her son is the only reason she can still be successful in this family. When the time comes, will he sue her for compensation? Will you sue yourself? He spent so much money on his son, he must be unwilling to do so, right? Ma Xiaozu was confused. She also thought that Chen Yi also said that she would go to jail. What landed you in jail? What handle does Chen Yi have? People, when you are flustered and anxious, your thinking ability plummets. In addition, you do a lot of bad things on weekdays. Now you feel guilty. Ma Xiaozu is sitting on pins and needles, only feeling uneasy and doubting yourself more and more. Auntie, do you know where Chen Yi went? Oh, when I was closing the door, I heard Mr. Zhong say, take her to dinner first. Ma Xiaozu nodded. Have a meal? Good meal, now it's time for lunch. The police officers also had lunch. She would have submitted such important evidence during working hours in the afternoon, right? So, should we just wait and wait near the police station? By the way, they will also go to the appraisal center. As long as they keep an eye on these two places, they can find Chen Yi. Ma Xiaozu snatched the phone call Zhou Qingqing was making. The child's father, where are you? This time, it's all up to you. After hanging up the phone, Ma Xiaozu was still restless. After thinking about it, she called Chen Jian again. Husband, the children have finished their exams, aren't you going home yet? I can't make it today. Go back tomorrow. Come back tomorrow, come back tomorrow. Very good. Then she has time. Ma Xiaozu felt relieved. Have your flight tickets been booked? I'll pick you up. No, there's no need to pick me up or wait for me. I'll go directly to the police station when I arrive. By the way, where is Zhou Qingqing? Qingqing is back. That matter has nothing to do with Qingqing, so she has been released first. Let her stay at home and I will talk to her tomorrow. Good. Although Chen Jian's attitude was indifferent, his words clearly did not reveal the slightest suspicion about his son. The paternity test has not been done yet, and presumably Chen Yi has not told him about her suspicions. Great, that's a little more time. And it also takes time to establish a strong parent-child relationship. Tao Ran deliberately waited for Ma Xiaozu to attack. Uncle Zhong has already arranged people and is waiting to catch the other party. Ma Xiaozu was left with three difficult problems, which were to force her to jump over the wall. Otherwise, she will not be able to keep her marriage, her daughter, her money, her son will be ruined, and even she herself will not know what situation she will face. Who can bear this? Ma Xiaozu could never sit still and wait for death. In the past 3 days, the reason why Tao Ran did nothing was actually to give Ma Xiaozu a chance. Zhou Qingqing went in. She had no one to rely on, so she would definitely contact that bastard father Zhou. After all, that guy and Niu Tian were on the same page. No matter whether Zhou Qingqing needed someone to clear things up or find someone to take the blame, the only one Ma Xiaozu could turn to was him. 3 days is enough for that person to come to the city. There is no way, who is called the bold yet cautious person. After his appearance last year, there is no trace of him again. After dealing with Father Wang, this man disappeared again. Chen Jian asked someone to check him, but he couldn't be found. Therefore, this was the most important reason why when Wang Shu came to report that Zhou Qingqing was going to kill Chen Yi, Tao Ran hesitated all night, but still decided to take advantage of it. She wanted to use Zhou Qingqing to lure that man out. She would use the method of forcing Ma Xiaozu and the others to have no other choice, to make the man do what he did last summer again, or to protect Ma Xiaozu's mother, daughter, and son behind her. Taking revenge one by one is too time-consuming. Especially the one in the dark. If he keeps hiding his head and tail, she can't wait in this world forever. Instead of always being on guard against the opponent's dirty tricks, she could take the initiative to dig a hole and wait for the opponent to jump. As long as she succeeds, she will be able to complete the task soon. This was the result Tao Ran wanted from the beginning, to catch them all in one fell swoop. Neither Ma Xiaozu nor that person can escape. Otherwise, with just Zhou Qingqing, how could she not be able to deal with it? Why put yourself at risk? At this moment, he was the only one who could help the mother and son. How could he hide it? The heroine who wears fast is really a boss. Author, Ruo Shui 1111. Chapter 204. Chen Jian was persuaded and gave full power to Lao Zhong to his daughter. So Tao Ran asked Uncle Zhong to find some professionals to protect them in the dark and also keep an eye on Ma Xiaozu. Chen Yi holds evidence that can destroy Zhou Qingqing and Ma Xiaozu's future. Once handed over, Ma Xiaozu's years of planning will be ruined, so this is their last chance. If nothing else, they must do something. Taoran naturally wanted to give them this opportunity. Therefore, she and Uncle Joan first ate at a restaurant near their home, but nothing happened until they finished eating. After that, the two of them went to the appraisal center. Uncle Joan was busy with his handbag, while Taoran sat alone on the sofa and waited. The two of them exposed a lot of loopholes, but until the hair was successfully handed over to the staff, no one was there. Come out and cause trouble. The two went to the police station again, wandering along the way and buying a cup of milk tea. Why is the other party so quiet? Masayozu has been planning for so many years and will not be willing to fall short. The two people who were secretly careful did not wait for the other party to take action, but received a strange call. The man's voice was obviously changed. Don't go to the police station, otherwise, the old lady in the nursing home will die. At the same time, the other party also sent a photo of the old lady sunbathing. In the end, the other party still chose to hold the old lady as a threat, just like in the plot. You guys come to the sanatorium first, someone wants to see you, the man said. Chen Yi, whether the old lady is good or not depends entirely on you, my granddaughter. Okay, I'll go. Taoran raised her eyebrows and agreed, even though she knew that the old lady was secretly protected by someone, so she was safe. The two quickly figured out what the other was doing. Because the news coming one after another proves that Masayozu is ready to run away. Originally, Masayozu really planned to let her ex-husband get Chen Yi. But, how should she do it? Steal your son's hair back. A monk who can hide can't hide in the temple. Even if Chen Jian doesn't return, Chen Yi is suspicious, Lao Zhong is suspicious. How far is it from Chen Jian knowing? As long as my son is there, it will be proven sooner or later. Get back the evidence about your daughter that Chen Yi has. Is that useful? How do you make sure that stinky girl doesn't have a backup? If she dared to play the recording to her aunt, there must be more than just the one on her phone. So if you can block her for a while, how long can you block her? Masayozu even had murderous intentions. Did she ever think about killing Chen Yi by just doing nothing? But if you kill that girl, you can be done with it? Can you ensure that Chen Jian and the police do not suspect them? If you can ensure that the evidence does not get into the hands of the police, won't Chen Jian doubt his son? Also, Chen Yi is currently at the forefront of the storm. He has just suffered a loss and must be on guard. This can be seen from Lao Zhong's personal protection. Who knows if there will be police to prevent the gangsters from retaliating against her and protect her secretly. After gradually calming down, Masayozu immediately thought of many possibilities. She asked herself, she was not sure that she could take down Chen Yi cleanly, not even a 50% chance. So why should she take the risk? According to the aunt, Chen Jian has decided to divorce her, and this man is destined to be unreliable. What else could she expect? Do you want him to rush out of the house after he comes back? Instead of doing that, it's better to seize everything in front of you. For the sake of her daughter, her son, and her future, why not take advantage of the time and opportunity to run away first? It only took Masayozu a quarter of an hour to make up her mind. She made a phone call and contacted her ex-husband. Chen Yi will leave it there first. If I want to run away, is there any way? If you want to leave, you can leave. When asked, the man was quite confident. This time he found out that something had happened to his biological daughter, so he brought many brothers to help him. He planned to use coercion and inducement to find a way to get Niu Yishin's gang to get rid of his daughter. So now, he has no shortage of manpower. You can go anywhere. Domestic and foreign. If you're in China, you'll need to find a place to hide for a while, and then apply for a new identity. Although it's a little more troublesome, you can live the same life as long as you survive a few years. If you're abroad, it's not difficult. It's easiest to go to the southern border. Enter that small country, spend money to buy an identity, and then transfer to another country. In short, as long as you have money, you can do anything. Then hurry up and arrange for people to run away. In terms of money, you don't have to worry about money. What I mean is, since you have made up your mind, you don't have to think about your old relationship with Chen Jian, so why not masturbate as much as you want? What do you think? I don't need you to teach me about this. Ma Xiaozu is most annoyed by this man's doggy attitude towards money. Let me ask you, how long do you have to prepare to leave in the fastest, safest, and least afraid of being discovered? As long as the money is available. Speak English. I asked my brother to arrange for a black car to pick you up, and then change cars on the way. Go to Linxian and find a place without surveillance to continue changing cars. Just change cars all the way south. I will make the arrangements, you don't have to worry. We are all a family, can I still trick you? My little baby can finally call me dad, which is really exciting to say. Stop talking nonsense, go to the dispatcher and leave. Chen Jian won't be back until tomorrow. Don't worry about him just in case. Ma Xiaozu just checked the civil aviation with Chen Jian's account number and confirmed that Chen Jian had booked a flight to come back tomorrow morning. It's mainly Chen Yi and the person named Zhong. You find a way to hang them up and delay them. Don't let them go to the police. Buy me time. I said, if you are going to leave, the sooner the better. Why do you need time? Just leave as soon as possible. Shut up. I have to prepare money. You told me earlier. Okay, I'll arrange Chen Yi's place, you can go about your business with peace of mind. After talking for a few more minutes, the two hung up the phone. But Zhou Qingqing stopped Ma Xiaozu. Mom, I don't want to leave. I don't want to hide around. I don't want to lose to Chen Yi. Didn't I do it for you? Ma Xiaozu slapped the unsatisfactory thing. At this point, it is difficult for us to leave no evidence for Chen Jian and the police to believe it again. If you stay, you will definitely go to jail. What future does a person who has been squatting have? Chen Jian will not let us live a good life anymore. How can you compete with Chen Yi without money? So if you stay, not only will you never be able to compete with Chen Yi, but you will also be teased by them forever. Moreover, your reputation is completely ruined. Since she had an affair with the gangsters and was involved with them, there would be endless troubles in the future. Ma Xiaozu didn't have the heart to say this. The more Ma Xiaozu thought about it, the more she felt that leaving was the only way out. Back then she was able to take her daughter away from her hometown and start a new life, and she can do it now. Mom is rich. Mom will take you abroad. Let's go to the south first, get your identity there, and then transfer to the country you like. Mom will send you to study in a developed country. When you become successful, you can come back and slap Chen Yi in the face. No matter what happens, Mom will always be with you. Now, hurry up and pack your luggage. Just take 2 pieces of clothes, the important thing is the money, go quickly, you can collect it for your brother after you finish it. Go for it. The heroine who wears fast is really a boss. Author, Ruo Shui 1111. Chapter 205. Ma Xiaozu's first step was to use scissors to cut off part of the surveillance wires in her home. What she wants to do next is not suitable for surveillance cameras, so surveillance in key places such as the living room and corridor must be stopped. She didn't cut them all off, leaving some irrelevant ones, such as the surveillance on the balcony, kitchen, etc., so that Chen Jian wouldn't be too vigilant. If Chen Jian came to ask, she would blame it on a fault. She asked her ex-husband to get a few people to watch near the community to prevent Chen Yi, Lao Zhong, and others from coming back suddenly, and then she started to get busy. She asked Zhou Qingqing to buy a few large plastic bags, and Ma Xiaozu started preparing to pack them. She took all the jewelry and designer bags, only 2 sets of clothes for herself, and nothing else. Then came Chen Jian's 3 brand name watches and 2 brand name bags. She even didn't miss the wedding ring that he stopped wearing last year. Just kidding, it's more than 10,000. She also took out the 200,000 yuan in cash that she had always kept in the safe at home. She immediately picked the lock of the room where Chen Jian lived. An old lady originally lived here, and there are quite a few old things. Ma Xiaozu was anxious and had no time to look at it bit by bit. She threw the old lady's locked jewelry box directly into her own box, and put all the old things that looked like antiques in bags. After rummaging around, I found an old money box belonging to the old lady in the cabinet. She wanted to laugh when she took one look at it. There were 50,000 yuan in cash, 10 gold bars and a gold ingot inside. Take it. Ma Xiaozu liked to hide money as she got older. She stared at the camphor box and found a pile of old clothes. She touched it carefully and found an old cotton padded jacket with bulging bags. When she tore it open, she found that there were money, gold rings and gold bracelets inside. Received. Pry open the drawer, and there are Chen Jian's things inside. Ma Xiaozu only got a Huanghuali bracelet from Chen Jian. She rummaged through the box and finally threw Chen Jian's tie clip and cuff links into the box. She went to Chen Yi's room again, looking for the necklace Hai Song gave her and the bracelet she bought for her biological daughter, but unfortunately, she couldn't find them. There was nothing valuable in Chen Yi's room, which made her very angry. She also rummaged through the study, and she found another 20,000 yuan in a locked drawer. The notebook was new and she took it. Looking at the vase in the study, Ma Xiaozu hugged it without hesitation. Afterwards, Ma Xiaozu called Zhou Qingqing. Wrap these, and these all in bubble wrap. What she pointed at were the bottles and jars of porcelain at home. Mom has to go out to do errands now. You pack things at home as quickly as possible. If you have enough time, you can also pack all the calligraphy and painting in the study. If mom hasn't come back after packing, you can pack a few purple clay pots, the red wine in the cabinet, the bottles of Maotai and tea over there are also packed in a package. You take care of your brother first, mother will be back soon. Ma Xiaozu put on her sneakers and went out. Ma Xiaozu has been through hardship since she was a child, so she has always felt insecure. So now she is extremely lucky. Since she likes cash, most of her deposits are kept in her own safe, and only a small part is deposited in several banks. This saves her the trouble of having to make an appointment with the bank in advance when she needs a large sum of money urgently. She went to the cash machine near the community and withdrew all the money in all the cards. Among them, naturally, there was a household card and credit card given to her by Chen Jian, which she maxed out and got another 30,000 yuan. Passing by KFC, she went directly to pack up fast food worth 300 yuan. Along the way, I can only eat these junk foods for the time being. Fortunately, my son likes it. After sending the money home, she went out again. This time she went to Chen Jian's company. She had placed chess pieces in the company in her early years. Because she had the advantage of the other party always obeyed her words. The man swiped her card to open the door and let her into the company. Ma Xiaozu went straight to Chen Jian's office, which was separated from the employees. Chen Jian and her secretary were both away on business, and there was an insider covering for her, so no one even knew she was coming. She directly took the key and opened the office door. Haha, she used to be the vice president of the company, how could she not have the key to her husband's office? Although she handed over the key when she left, how could Chen Jian know that she had actually prepared a spare one? Naturally, she came to the company for money. It's a pity that she didn't have enough time, otherwise she would have made a fuss in the finance department and tried to find a way to transfer a large sum of money. There is no need to search everywhere for a small profit like now. Doesn't she know what's valuable in Chen Jian's office? They're all in the inner room. She packed all the valuables and found 50,000 yuan in cash, a jade pendant and 2 bracelets that Chen Jian loved. In the cabinet, there are also brand new and packaged designer handbags and watches. After opening the safe, she finally found what she was looking for. A jasper bracelet. That's the old lady's heirloom. She didn't know how much it was worth, but it was certainly valuable. The old lady passed the bracelet to Chen Yi's dead mother, but after the woman died, Chen Jian knew that she wanted it, but he never gave it to her. Instead, he kept it with him, saying that he wanted to keep it as a souvenir. Puh! Ma Xiaozu hates. She had served him hard and without complaint for many years, but he didn't regard her as his wife at all. Scumbag. But in the end, the thing still fell into her hands. Just think of it as compensation for these years. She also collected all the valuable old PUER from Chen Jian's collection on the shelf. She couldn't understand that these tattered pieces were worth hundreds of thousands. She rummaged through the table again, and she didn't even miss one of Chen Jian's gold pens. Ma Xiaozu collected everything, put it into a cardboard box, threw a document on top, and left in a big way. This time, she went to a nearby loan company. Mortgage. She just wants cash. She parked her car there directly, and because all the documents were in place, she got a large amount of cash in just 20 minutes. She was about to leave. Why would she leave her car for Chen Jian? Next, Ma Xiaozu went home again and drove Chen Jian's car. This is her biggest purpose in going to the company. She had just gone to Chen Jian's office to find his car keys. Chen Jian bought this new car the year before last and drove it only when receiving important customers. It was well maintained and looked like brand new. She has asked King's father to find a person to take over the black mortgage. Although the car is not in her name, it has a marriage certificate, so the car can be regarded as jointly owned by the couple. It has been agreed that the other party is willing to accept the car in cash. For a car worth more than 800,000 yuan, the other party gave me 300,000 yuan. Ma Xiaozu felt satisfied. Adding up the 7, 7, 8, and 8, plus her own savings, she also made several million. Especially the jade bracelet, which looks good and is still an antique. It might be sold for several million, so she wouldn't be at a loss. No, it should be earned. If she keeps spending time with Chen Jian, she won't even be able to get a quarter of the money. If she doesn't run away, Qing will become the mastermind of evil, which can make her bankrupt. When the time comes, she loses everything and still gets nothing. That's a joke. It's still as good as now. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The heroine who wears fast is really a boss. Author, Ruo Shui 1111. Chapter 206. Ma Xiaozu rushed home and packed all the remaining things with Zhou Qingqing. In the end, their belongings filled 3 large suitcases, 2 duffel bags and 3 woven bags. The cash and gold bars were all packed in Ma Xiaozu's suitcase. During this period, Chen Jian called to ask about the monitoring. Ma Xiaozu said confidently that the circuit breaker tripped in the afternoon and the line might be broken. You can find someone to fix it later. The 3 of them waited anxiously for 5 minutes before the car and people finally arrived. At this time, Taoran was in a nursing home. Taoran was very happy. Ma Xiaozu's choice was beyond her expectation, but it was reasonable. Wasn't the purpose of putting himself in danger just to force Ma Xiaozu to make a wrong choice in a situation where she was surrounded by enemies on all sides? She didn't commit murder or robbery, but she still embarked on another criminal path. Of course, I am safer now, but it is inevitable that I will have some regrets. The other party did not kill or injure anyone, and the crime was much smaller. In any case, Taoran's goal has been achieved. Uncle Zhong wanted to catch Ma Xiaozu, But Taoran didn't want to. She wants to give the other person time. Only when the opponent becomes a fait accompli can she strike again to make the opponent stumble. Otherwise, the opponent's action will be an attempt at best. Whether it is completed or not, the punishment results will be very different. So, she and Uncle Jean went to the nursing home obediently according to each other's wishes. Naturally, they didn't see anyone there, they were just hung up on the phone and threatened. The other party said that if she dared to leave today, dare to call the police, or dare to be disobedient, there would be a way to prevent the old lady from surviving tomorrow. The other party was quite cautious and the phone number was different every time he called. Taoran checked and found out that they were all internet calls. At 3:30, the people arranged by Taoran observed Ma Xiaozu leaving. But at that time, the warning calls to her were still continuing, so she simply stayed in the nursing home with peace of mind, telling Uncle Jean to arrange for someone to keep an eye on Ma Xiaozu. On the other side, as soon as she met her ex-husband, Ma Xiaozu felt bored. Because he took her mobile phone immediately and performed some shocking and skillful operations. He actually used her name to apply for loans on various loan platforms. Ma Xiaozu has good credit, and within a few dozen minutes, she was paid on more than a dozen platforms. Father Joe laughed loudly, took his ex-wife in his arms and gave her a smack on the face. "You're crazy, you still have such thoughts at this time." Ma Xiaozu was frightened. "You're going to change your name in the future, so why do you need your current name and credit? It's better to take advantage of now and make as much money as you can. Anyway, your name won't be used in the future, and you don't have to pay back the money. No matter how much interest there is, it's all in vain. It's a gift." "How nice. That's enough. You're taking a risk. You should throw away the phone card now. There's no rush. Your stepdaughter is still in the nursing home and can't go to the police station that quickly. Besides, it will take at least half an hour for them to rush to the police station. It will be at least an hour before the police station finds out that you left. When they start taking action, they have all left the province. Cross-provincial pursuits still need approval, which is not that fast. It will be at least tomorrow morning when they are all done. Don't worry, I'm here. Be good." The man is skilled in operation, downloading various platforms one after another, trying to arbitrage as much money as possible. At that moment, Ma Xiaozu suddenly regretted and began to question her decision. Did she do the right thing? She seemed to have forgotten how messy this man was and how much he loved money. When she remained anonymous, it was equivalent to putting her entire future back on this man. Will I be impulsive? The man saw what she was thinking. Do you have any other choice? If you lose the battle with that Chen Yi, you have to accept your fate. Now, wouldn't it be nice for our family of 4 to be reunited like this? Don't worry, you have money. We will have a good life in the future. When passing by the bank, Ma Xiaozu had no choice but to go to the man and withdraw all the dozens of loans she had just obtained. Several bank cards had their limits today, and the money was transferred to the man via mobile phone. The man quickly got all the money out, and in one breath, he got another 200,000. They changed cars at a private garage, and instead of taking the expressway, they took the provincial highway and headed south. Several people threw away all their mobile phone cards without fear of being located. An hour later, they left the province. Taoran called the police after returning home, and Uncle Jean called to inform Chen Jian to return as soon as possible. They were all amazed, never expecting Ma Xiaozu to be able to do this. Almost everything of value in the house was taken away. Taoran felt a little happy. Even several famous paintings in the study were taken away. The greater the total value of the things Ma Xiaozu took away, the greater her crime. Elopement. Transfer jointly owned property? No, many of the things Ma Xiaozu took had nothing to do with her, so the theft charge was a certainty. She colluded with her ex-husband to steal and ran away with their illegitimate child. Can Chen Jian sue her for marriage fraud? Well, besides Zhou Qingqing, Ma Xiaozu is also finished. That night, Chen Jian rushed back and Taoran submitted Zhou Qingqing's recording to the police. When faced with the source of the police recording, Chen Jian bluntly said that he was worried about his daughter before going on a business trip, so he protected her position. I just didn't expect that something would really happen and it would really come in handy. Afterwards, Chen Jian personally began to count all the lost things. His scalp was numb. If the family and company have hundreds of thousands in cash, forget it. The car was sold, which almost drove him crazy. As everyone knows, on the other side, Ma Xiaozu is also going crazy. They went all the way south and had traveled 300 kilometers safely. When they arrived at a small county town, Ma Xiaozu thought that before the other party started arresting her, she wanted to take the old lady's heirloom first. After all, this thing has whetted her appetite for many years. They went to a jade shop to identify it, and the other party took a flashlight to look at it for a long time, and finally told Ma Xiaozu, 3,000 at most. How many? 3,000. Impossible. This is old jade, a family heirloom. It's only worth the price. Ma Xiaozu didn't believe that the precious jade that Chen Jian was so solemn and locked was only worth such a small price. She changed places, but the other party only offered a price of 2,800 yuan. She didn't believe in evil and found a pawn shop. The man looked at it for a long time, 1,005. Ma Xiaozu felt that the people in this small place must be ignorant. The car drove on again and arrived at a medium-sized city. After looking for a place, I found out that this time the other party offered a high price, 3,080, which is the most. The thing I had been thinking about for many years turned out to be a waste. Ma Xiaozu collapsed. Chen Jian. You are a liar. The old woman is also a liar. Your whole family is a liar. You hang me with a piece of broken jade and say it is valuable and exists like a treasure. In fact, you are all lying to me. Little did she know that this was a wedding gift from the old lady to Chen Jian and Chen Yi's mother. The reason why Chen Jian didn't give it to her was because he cherished the memories with his wife and kept it with him, and also because the jade was not valuable. The reason why the old lady said that she had a jade bracelet heirloom at home that was not passed down to her was because she always felt that Ma Xiaozu was not a good person, so she deliberately provoked her to tell nonsense after a quarrel between the two. A misunderstanding has been weighing on Ma Xiaozu's heart for many years. She had always thought that the heirlooms from the prestigious old lady's family could be sold for at least several million. The heroine who wears fast is really a boss. Author, Ruo Shui 1111. Chapter 207. After knowing that the jade bracelet was worthless, Zhou's father was also a little anxious. He was worried that the bags of bottles, cans, calligraphy and paintings in the car were also fake, and he was afraid that after he had been busy for a long time and mobilized so many brothers and connections, the income would be far less than expected. Therefore, he has contacted his brother and is preparing to appraise and resell the things tomorrow. Ma Xiaozu was also angry, not only because of the jade bracelet, but also because the 100,000 yuan she asked the company's finance to transfer to her this afternoon failed. The finance manager actually set up a 2-hour transfer. Before her bank account was frozen, she failed to mention the money. The atmosphere in the car was somewhat condensed. Ma Xiaozu is worried, Zhou's father is because the money is much less than expected, Zhou Qingqing is uneasy, Chen Xiao, no, it is Zhou Qiao now, he is just dissatisfied with the current rush. After taking the national highway and leaving another province, Zhou's father also cheered up. He received a call from a brother with whom he had a close relationship. Since the fugitive daughter had committed a criminal case, an online wanted order for his daughter had been issued. This means that their road ahead will be difficult. In the dark of night, When we are tired and upset, the troubles of our children begin to show up. The son clamored to sleep on the bed, but was scolded by Masayozu and beaten by Father Joe. The daughter got into a fuss because she refused to cut her hair. As a result, Joe's father directly threatened to stop the car and said that if she didn't cut her hair and change her appearance, she could get out now. Joe Ching feels aggrieved. Can't she just wear a mask and a hat? She talked back and got a slap from her father. The life of being on the run was so difficult. Chen Chao felt that Joe Ching was the one who caused all this, so he kept complaining all the way and even pulled his sister's hair several times. Joe Ching was also dissatisfied. She felt that her mother had done something wrong. Why not let dad kill Chen Yi? Wouldn't that be the end of the matter? She doesn't want to run away, not at all. For a time she didn't want to talk to her mother anymore. Masayozu was even more depressed. Not only was she worried about the difficulty of the road ahead, but she was also afraid of the pursuers from behind. All she could do was put as much pressure on the man as possible so that he would never let his guard down. Father Joe was not happy either. Is he helping the three of them escape? Okay. Why don't they know how to be polite? These people have probably forgotten who they rely on now. So, when the car reached a remote place, Joe's father couldn't bear it anymore. After calling his brother to stop the car, he dragged Masayozu out of the car and beat her directly. Complaining to me so much? I haven't complained to you yet. The man roared, you only made so little money, are you embarrassed? You are really short-sighted. Isn't your target the company? You suddenly want to run away. I thought you made at least 10 million. What happened in the end? In so many years, you have made so many millions. What do you do and eat on weekdays? Masayozu was furious, you have the nerve to say that? In which year did I not give you money? How much money have I given you over the years? I gave you half of my savings, you bastard. Masayozu went up and started ruthlessly. He bit the man on the arm. The two cursed each other, but 5 minutes later, they returned to the car together. Probably seeing how powerful they were, Joe Ching and Joe Chao both became quiet after that. The next day, they passed through a shopping mall in a provincial capital city and resold several luxury bags and almost brand new watches to a luxury store. Probably because they saw that they were eager to sell, the other party kept the price low, but they had no choice but to sell it for almost half of the market price. The price did not meet expectations, which made the atmosphere in the car drop a lot. At noon, they arrived at a small southern town. Here, there are people arranged by Father Joe to meet him. New phone cards have been issued, and Masayozu and Joe King's mobile phones can be used again. Joe's father made an appointment with a black merchant who specializes in collecting calligraphy, painting, and antiques to inspect the goods in a tea house. Appraisal first, and if the price is right, buy and sell directly in cash. Masayozu was naturally worried about her ex-husband taking the goods to inspect the sale alone and asked to go with him. The man nodded in response. Masayozu lowered her voice and told her daughter, there is money in the car. You stay in the car. If anything happens, call your mother. Be careful. Joe Ching nodded continuously. She has nothing left, this money is her future. She will protect it. Masayozu and Joe's father entered the private room on the second floor of the tea house and took out all the contents of the 2 luggage bags. There are a lot of things, they were sorted out last night, and they all need to be changed hands. From calligraphy and painting vases to jade pendant bracelets, a series of affordable items are all here. Well, I even brought those pieces of PUERT cakes worth more than 100,000 yuan. There are too many things, so it will take some time. Fortunately, although several calligraphy and paintings are not antiques, they are all genuine. The most expensive one was quoted 100,000 yuan. The package price, all the items here add up, is 500,000, The man opposite touched his beer belly and gave a fixed price. Masayozu was slapped in the face. This bottle is worth 80,000 yuan. This purple sand is made by a master and costs 100,000 yuan. And this bracelet. Auntie, let's open up the skylight and speak frankly. You are in a hurry to pay, and you only need cash. These goods cannot pass through the open road for the time being. We are at risk, and you can only suffer some losses. But, this is too little. Father Joe also felt that it was too outrageous. Masayozu had already calculated it yesterday. These things cost more than 2 million yuan. Even if they were half price, they would still be 1 million yuan. The current price is obviously bullying. Brother you, we are all on the same road, and we may even cooperate in the future. See if you can give me a lift. Forget it, just to say this to you, I will add another 100,000 to you. The man pinched his cigarette and said, I won't hide it from you. I have a total of 600,000 yuan in this box, not even a penny more. If you agree, let's check the money now and our deal is done. I'll give you a minute to think about it. If you don't, if you wish, I will cover the errand expenses of 5,000 yuan for a group of us brothers. Masayozu looked at each other. Is it possible that they have a better way? But at this time, the man with a big belly who was staring at the window turned around and said, Boss, something is wrong, the police are coming. At the corner of the street 200 meters away, a police car was approaching. Looking around, there are more than one, at least, 3 or 4. As soon as the sound was heard, the pot-bellied man took back the money box just as he was about to hand it out. Transaction cancelled. He didn't care about asking for any errand fees, and the people with him withdrew. Masayozu was stunned for only a second, then quickly recovered and started to pack away the belongings on the table. What to do? What to do? Her hands were trembling, and she quickly stuffed things into her bag without caring about anything else. Aren't you here to help? She glanced at her ex-husband and was dumbfounded. The man actually jumped directly from the second-floor window of the tea house. To be precise, he slipped from the bamboo door outside the tea house. He didn't tell her to leave, nor did he greet her. A second later, Masayozu understood instantly, and a chill rushed from the soles of her feet to the top of her head. She didn't even bother to clean up, and almost staggered downstairs. That beast needs to escape. You have to leave her and run away. There were millions of dollars in cash in the car. If he didn't wait for her, then, it would be over. The heroine who wears fast is really a boss. Author, Ruo Shui 1111. Chapter 208. The car horn downstairs blared the letter, and Father Joe rushed back to their car as fast as he could. Joe Ching was scared to death. She also saw the police car. Was it coming to arrest her? Where's Mom? Why did you lower the window? When she saw her father risking his life and sliding down from the second floor, she was almost frightened again. Drive. Hurry, hurry, hurry. Father Joe had no time to answer nonsense. Dad, Mom isn't here yet. No, wait, hurry up and leave. Joe's father told his brother to drive. Time is running out. He couldn't wait for Masayozu. When she comes down, the police can surround them. Then not only is your work in vain, but you also have to get involved. Dad, wait for Mom. Joe Ching grabbed her father. If you wait any longer, everyone will finish playing. Joe's father threw his daughter away. Seeing the police car already 50 meters away, in the flash of lightning, Dad Joe made a decision. He actually jumped into the back seat, opened the door and pushed Joe Ching down. The police have locked onto them and it will be difficult for them to escape. It was his daughter who was wanted by the police. Masayozu was the one who betrayed Chen Jian, and Masayozu was the one who took away Chen Jian's property. In fact, he had nothing to do with her from the beginning to the end. How about simply handing them over? Then the police will not pursue them, they will definitely catch them first, and only in this way will he have a chance to escape. Only in this way can all the money be saved. Anyway, at her age, she will be given a lighter sentence. No hurries. Wasn't it just a matter of a few years? Who hasn't spent a few years in jail? When he comes out a few years later, he is still a good man. She is so young and has so much time in her life. What are you afraid of? You are still young when you come out, so there will be no delay. As for Ma Xiaozu, she and Chen Jian were married for 100 days, and Chen Jian would never kill her. If she thought of a way, she might be able to avoid jail. The worst outcome is to be stuck for a few years. Just think of yourself as sorry for her, and consider it as her compensation for herself over the years. Dad Joe started to get excited. Rather than being caught together, it would be better for him to take the millions in the car and run away first. This is the greatest protection, right? His biggest dream in this life is to have endless money. Wouldn't this come true? The millions in the car can be spent by one person or by several people, which are completely different concepts. At worst, when they come out, he will share the remaining money with them, and then he will treat them well. No, if he's lucky, maybe by the time they come out, he'll have become rich with the money. By then it would be too late for them to fawn over him. They are all one family, even the broken bones are still connected. Moreover, both Ma Xiaozu and Qing Qing are very good at spending money. These two people have just come in to curb their lavish habits. In a few years, their family will no longer have to hide and remain anonymous. How nice. Father Joe had already made his decision in a blink of an eye. Qing Qing, Dad will pick you up again in a few years. The man gritted his teeth and pushed his daughter down. The car was already running. Although the speed was not fast, his sudden push was still dangerous. Zhou Qingqing screamed, rolled on the ground several times, and stopped when she hit the edge of the road. Ma Xiaozu had just rushed out of the tea house and almost went crazy when she saw this. That bastard! Sure enough, he took the money and ran away. Son! My son is still in the car. This beast actually abandoned his daughter. Ma Xiaozu cried, cursed, and staggered away. She didn't know whether to chase the car first or save her daughter first. Zhou Qingqing was lucky. Although he was knocked on the edge of the road, fortunately, the area that was hit was not the back of the head, but the face. So even though there was a big gash on his face, and it looked bloody, it was very scary, but at least it wasn't serious. As soon as Ma Xiaozu covered the wound on her daughter's face with her coat, the phone rang. That bastard called. I will take good care of my son. When he grows up, it's time for him to recognize his ancestors and return to his clan to follow his father. Don't worry, I won't treat him badly. You can rest assured inside. When you come out, our family can live a good life again. Are you still human? I'm sorry, I can't help it. I have too little money. It's not easy to get there in the south, so I have to find someone to arrange it out. The other party asked for 500,000 per person, and the four of us wanted 2 million. Including travel expenses and other expenses, when we go out, there won't be much money left. If you want to live a good life abroad, this money is simply not enough. It's really not worth the risk. So forget it. Preserving the money is more important. I will take good care of my son. Ma Xiaozu's heart twitched when she heard her son's cries and the man's fierce yelling at her son. After the man finished speaking, he hung up. When he called again, his phone was turned off. The police had already surrounded the mother and daughter. They resell the stolen items and gain both the stolen goods and others. Ma Xiaozu's heart was now focused on her son, and she pointed in the direction of the car without hesitation. Comrade, seize that car. Someone has hijacked my son. Joe's father's car turned around after seeing the police car arriving, intending to leave on the other side of the road. They thought they could escape smoothly, but they didn't expect that they could merge into the main road traffic ahead. Unexpectedly, at the entrance of the alley in front, a car suddenly rushed out and blocked them directly in front of them. Seeing that he was about to hit the car, the driver subconsciously braked and quickly turned in the opposite direction. With a bang, the car stopped and hit a telephone pole on the side of the road. The front of the car was smoking and the car couldn't move. Dad Joe bumped his forehead and felt dizzy. But that didn't stop him. Without saying a word, he moved his hands left and right, picked up 2 boxes containing money, and was about to get out of the car. The son grabbed him. "Be good, your mother is looking for you." Father Joe directly pushed his son down. But he was blocked by several people getting off the car crossing the road in front. Several people came up and subdued him directly to the ground. When he saw that the license plate of the car crossing the road came from the city they fled from, he realized that he had actually been followed. The police were naturally recruited by Chaoran and the others. Today I followed them into the tea house carrying their luggage bags. I thought about how they sold a lot of luxury goods at low prices yesterday, and I expected that they were going to do business here. Chen Jian called the police without saying anything. A lot of time was wasted in inspecting and appraising the goods and bargaining, which bought time for the local police to dispatch police. However, there was not enough time, so although the police did not turn on the siren, they did turn on the police car, almost alerting the enemy. Fortunately, after looking at the location of the local police, Uncle Zhong's people blocked the road directly at the other end. In the end, none of the 4 people could escape. While the police seized the stolen goods, the black buyer was also caught. At this moment, what was playing on Chaoran's phone was the video just sent by Uncle Zhong's people. In the picture, Ma Xiaozu is sitting on the edge of the road holding her daughter, looking pale and asking the sky, "Why?" Zhou Qingqing was frightened and kept saying one thing, "Will I be disfigured?" Zhou Chao pulled a policeman, "I'm just a child." Zhou's father explained to the police, "Everything has nothing to do with me." You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The heroine who wears fast is really a boss. Author, Ruo Shui 1111. Chapter 209. Dad Joe was arrested. He thought that his crime was minor and he would be a good man in a few days. But he didn't expect that Zhou Qingqing's recording would completely sell him out. Not only was his previous incident of attacking Chen Yi with a motorcycle revealed, but also his hiring someone to interrupt Wang Shu's father. Although he didn't admit it, Zhou Qingqing, who was being interrogated alone, couldn't resist it at all. After knowing that her own mother was also imprisoned and no one came to rescue her this time, the police asked her to confess in exchange for a lighter sentence. After being imprisoned all night, Zhou Qingqing failed to hold on and confessed clearly. Pulling out the radish and bringing out the mud, after asking her why she hurt Wang Shu's father, Wang Shu could no longer hide the fact that she took the blame for her. In addition, Dad Joe's operation this time used a lot of his connections. In addition to arresting the black buyer and a few people who helped him escape, the police also arrested a few gangsters who had been helping him. There are more and more witnesses and physical evidence, and everything that Joe's father has done in recent years has been uncovered. The police even traced that the reason why the out-of-town partner of Chen Jian's company had an accident the day before the high school entrance examination was because of a car accident related to Joe's father. Father Joe is carrying more and more cases. Just like him, is Zhou Qingqing. A recording not only directly made her the mastermind of the last vicious kidnapping incident, but also involved her in 2 other cases of paid murder and wounding. This time, Zhou Qingqing could not get out again. What awaits her and Zhou's father will be legal sanctions. Ma Xiaozu asked to see Chen Jian, but the paternity test had already come out, and Ma Xiaozu was so dissatisfied that Chen Jian was completely disappointed in her. After Chen Jian sued her directly, he met her again. Ma Xiaozu looked at the indictments one by one and finally realized that the reason why the man had sent people to follow them early in the morning but never called the police was to wait for her to escape and to label her as elopement or marriage fraud. Waiting for her to help the wanted criminal escape, waiting for her to sell off property that does not belong to her, so that her stealing charge can be more solid. What a dirty man. However, when Chen Jian came, Ma Xiaozu knelt down and cried loudly. She expressed regret, helplessness, and annoyance, begging him to show mercy and to let her and her daughter go. Ma Xiaozu said shamelessly that she really loved him, but her daughter was caught by her bastard father, so she was forced to take a wrong road to escape. She has been regretting it, she was wrong, she wanted to go back to him. Since you love me, why did you give birth to your ex-husband's son? Chen Jian had already taken the bastard sample for testing. The bastard and his son were direct relatives. He was disgusted with sharing his wife, and even more disgusted with the fact that the biological father of the son he had raised so carefully had almost killed his own daughter. It was the man who came to see Ching Ching and forced me. I only found out later that I didn't mean to. I just went to see him. But he said that it was you who took the initiative to borrow his seed. During your private meeting, you paid for the hotel room. Chen Jian knew that Ma Xiaozu would lie, so he went to see Zhou's father. The bastard probably wanted to see him embarrassed, so he told him everything about him and Ma Xiaozu. It turns out that the bastard and Ma Xiaozu were childhood sweethearts. After getting married, the two went to the city to work hard. However, Zhou's father took a wrong turn. After the two had a daughter, the pressure of life fell on Ma Xiaozu. Zhou's father, on the other hand, hangs out day and night and is addicted to drinking and gambling. Ma Xiaozu became dissatisfied and wanted to find a way out. Ma Xiaozu, who works outside, gradually realizes her own advantages, which are youth, beauty, and graceful temperament. Because of her appearance, the boss of the factory where she worked also took a fancy to her and wanted her to become a sex worker. Ma Xiaozu refused. If she really wanted to choose a man again, she would only be his wife. After this incident, she became enlightened and felt that she still had room for improvement. In this regard, Zhou's father said that as long as he can make money and it is good for him and his daughter's future, he can endure the humiliation and bear the burden no matter what. With this understanding, she chose some companies instead of working in a factory when looking for a job. The front desk is perfect for her. The academic requirements are not high, and it is convenient to work 9 to 5 to take care of children. Not only are the people negotiating with a wide range of people, many of them are rich and well established. Her smile is warm and healing, she is honest and quick, and she does a good job. Chen Jian happened to be a client of her company at the time. Of course she noticed her peers who were motivated, capable, and good-looking. It's a pity that he has a wife. Later, she accidentally found out that Chen Jian had just lost his wife, and she suddenly became interested. The receptionist of Chen Jian's company was hit by a car one night when he returned home and had to take a month off to recuperate. Therefore, Ma Xiaozu successfully applied for the job with the help of her colleagues. She is considerate, does things properly, and has won the favor of everyone in the company. After that, Ma Xiaozu and her husband performed one painful scene after another. The woman who was domestically abused was so pitiful, like a duckweed carried away by the wind, in urgent need of support. After Zhou's father squandered all his property and abandoned his wife and daughter, Ma Xiaozu performed a suicide scene in front of Chen Jian one night while working overtime. The hero saves the beauty, and then slowly develops feelings for her. After that, Ma Xiaozu files for divorce from her missing husband. After remarrying, Chen Jian started his career and was very busy. The old lady didn't like Ma Xiaozu. She always stared at her with a pair of eagle eyes, feeling that she had impure intentions for her son. Ma Xiaozu was anxious to tie up Chen Jian because of the old lady and was anxious to get pregnant. But in those 1 or 2 years, Chen Jian only stayed home for 3 to 5 days every month, and those few days were not during Ma Xiaozu's ovulation period. One time when Zhou's father came to ask for money, the anxious Ma Xiaozu drank too much and had an incident with her ex-husband. But after everything was done, she simply let her ex-husband stay for a few more days. After 2 ovulation periods, she finally got pregnant. You know what happened later. My son was born successfully, and you regarded him as your own. And Xiaozu gave me a certain amount of living expenses every month. Chen Jian was so angry that his face turned green. He raised wives, sons, daughters, and even his wife's ex-husband. He was the only one in the world, right? I want to know, is my mother's illness related to Ma Xiaozu? Father Zhou grinned with a meaningful smile. Chen Jian, if you tell me, I won't pursue your family or claim compensation from your hometown. Zhou's father's bank transactions were checked all over, and he gave 1/5 of the money Ma Xiaozu gave him to his hometown, totaling more than 300,000 yuan. Chen Jian, your house in the countryside was also built with my money. If I make a claim, your parents' place. It's a deal. I tell you, please let my family go. Good. Father Zhou said it all. The old lady back then was too sharp, which made Ma Xiaozu uneasy. She likes to ask questions and even wants to check Ma Xiaozu's menstruation. Ma Xiaozu panicked. At that time, she changed the old lady's medicine. One day, she secretly returned home, deliberately spread talcum powder evenly on the kitchen floor where the old lady was making soup, and then left. Later, the old lady really fell. His head hit the ground and he fell hard, causing a cerebral hemorrhage. After missing the time for treatment, the old lady became seriously ill and almost died. Although Ma Xiaozu felt it was a pity, the old lady could no longer stop her. The heroine who wears fast is really a boss. Author, Ruo Shui 1111. Chapter 210. After Chen Jian learned what Ma Xiaozu had done, he felt resentful and resentful. He blames himself for being blind and hates women for being cruel. The pleading of the woman in front of him was so sincere and aggrieved that she seemed to have suffered Douyi's injustice, which made Chen Jian feel even more ridiculous. You are too scary. I will not let you go, I can't let you go out and harm others again. Many years have passed since the old lady's incident, and the evidence has long been gone. Chen Jian can no longer seek justice. But right now, he will never show mercy to Ma Xiaozu. Since Ma Xiaozu was Zhou Qingqing's guardian and had been acting as Zhou Qingqing's protective umbrella and providing financial support for his crimes, Chen Jian did not hesitate to add Ma Xiaozu's name to Zhou Qingqing's charges and defendants. Ma Xiaozu almost fainted from anger. Revenge, this is revenge. Originally, everything his daughter did could be fooled by her young age or asked for leniency. Now that Chen Jian bit himself to death, he was forcing himself to take responsibility for his daughter. Indeed, that's what Tao Ran and Chen Jian thought. In the indictment, they pointed out that Zhou Qingqian was young and could not be so vicious and planned one disaster after another, so they raised doubts that Ma Xiaozu was the real mastermind. To make matters worse for Ma Xiaozu and the others, Wang Shu's family also filed lawsuits against them. They were involved in 2 cases. Wang Shu took the blame for Zhou Qingqing and Zhou's father injured others, and they refused to settle. Several people were charged with too many crimes and were all imprisoned in the detention center. The results of the high school entrance examination have come down. Tao Ran's performance is stable, he is 2nd in the class and 10th in the grade. He is already a sure shot at entering the 1st grade of high school. Because of the case before the high school entrance examination, she was escorted by the police to take the exam and once again stood at the forefront. Her rapid improvement in performance once again made her a model of hard work. A reporter who interviewed her in the early years even came back to give her a test. For an exclusive interview, even the program team of the radio station returning to the city at night also connected with her once. Tao Ran's performance and camera sense are very good, her language organization skills are also strong, and she conveys positive values. Reporters like her very much, and even the radio station invited her to do a summer internship with them. What Chen Jian meant was that she was going to inherit the company in the future, so she might as well go to his company to learn something and get used to it during the 2-month summer vacation, even if she looked familiar. One side is interest and the other side is family business. Tao Ran feels that this choice is still left to Chen Yi. Zhou Chao, who had no one to take care of him, was taken back to the countryside and raised by the Ma family and the Zhou family in turns. Her parents had a bad reputation, Ma Xiaozu had no money to support the family, and Zhou Chao himself had a bad temper. The result was predictable. He is arrogant at home, but who will tolerate him in the countryside? The elders almost always beat disobedient people with tools. A month later, Zhou Chao gave in. From being an arrogant young master in the city, he obediently became a cowherd boy. In the days after the test results came out, several court hearings also began. Since all the witnesses and physical evidence were corroborating, the trial process was very fast. First, there was the kidnapping case of Zhou Qingqing and Niu Yishan's gang. They were kidnapped, beaten, detained in broad daylight, and all kinds of evil plans were evidenced by recordings. The despicable behavior was shocking. As the planner of the operation, Zhou Qingqing took the main responsibility and was sentenced to 8 years. Because of his young age, the sentence was halved to 4 years. The two victims were also fined 100,000 yuan each, including mental damages. Facing the ruling, Zhou Qingqing did not react much. She broke down a few days ago. Because the wound on her face was too severe. She was scarred and disfigured. She became ugly. Then how will she become an internet celebrity in the future? How to be a star? Plastic surgery? Where's the money? Compared with going to jail, breaking the law would be a devastating blow to her. Niu Yishan is the main executor of the operation. He is an adult and must bear criminal responsibility. Like Zhou Qingqing, he was sentenced to 8 years in this case. But he has one more thing than Zhou Qingqing, that is, reselling and gathering people are against the rules and regulations. This added another 3 years to him. His brothers were also sentenced to less than 5 years in prison according to the severity of their crimes. As a guardian and fund provider, Ma Xiaozu did not rule out the possibility of collusion. In addition to being fined 100,000 yuan, she was also sentenced to 1 year. During the theft case, all the property lost by Chen Jian was returned. Since Ma Xiaozu did not sell the property himself, all of it was recovered with the intervention of the police. The illegal loan company that impounded the car that was not his own was always being watched by Uncle Zhong's people, so even if he moved the luxury car overnight, he still couldn't escape, and the gang was all caught. Chen Jian's car was also recovered. So far, he actually didn't have much loss. But Ma Xiaozu, as the mastermind of this case, is different. Chen Jian sued for divorce and sued her for everything from the transfer of marital property to theft. The paternity test was put in court, and Ma Xiaozu had a record of providing financial assistance to her ex-husband for many years. The amount exceeded 1 million, and she had indeed transferred her marital property. With this information in hand, Chen Jian hired the best lawyer. Not only did he ask Ma Xiaozu to clean up and leave the house, but he also claimed Chen Jian's support for his 2 illegitimate children over the years and demanded a large amount of mental compensation. In the end, Chen Jian achieved everything except mental compensation. Not only did Ma Xiaozu not get any money from this divorce, she also had to pay part of Chen Jian's son's support. She was found guilty of all charges of stealing and privately selling stolen goods. Because the amount was huge, exceeding 1 million, she was sentenced to 6 years. She helped her daughter who was under investigation escape and defied the law. She was given an additional 2 years and fined 30,000 yuan. On Wang Shu's side, after some evidence collection and investigation by the police, he was finally cleared of his grievance for taking the blame for Zhou Qingqing that day, and Zhou Qingqing received an additional 3 months in prison. The case of Father Wang's leg injury was also investigated clearly. It was found that he had premeditated the injury, and Father Zhou was sentenced to 4 years in prison. Zhou's father was sentenced to 5 years for the theft and evasion case, 1 year for the injury charge of pushing Zhou Qingqing out of the car, 6 years for the attempted homicide by driving a motorcycle, and 2 years for the evasion by car. In total, a total of 18 years. Ma Xiaozu was sentenced to a total of 9 years. After many years of planning, it turned out to be in vain. Her husband was gone, her children were gone, and all the money she had planned for many years was gone. The money she had saved was running out after she compensated the Wang family. Chen Yihe paid fines, paid compensation for her daughter and ex-husband, and borne the litigation costs. She also inexplicably owed a large amount of interest on online loans. And just thinking about it, when she comes out 9 years later, she will be old and yellow, and even her only beauty will be gone. She almost collapses. She scolded Chen Jian for being ruthless in court. She felt aggrieved. She had been working as a cow and a horse for many years, but she didn't get the corresponding reward, nor did she get the tolerance she deserved. This family was imprisoned like this. Tao Ran was very satisfied with this result. In the end, her desperate risk was not in vain. In the end, she successfully eliminated all 4 members of the other party's family and minimized Chen Jian's losses. Look, Ma Xiaozu has been working in vain for many years and has not received any money. Why can't she cry and faint in the dock? After the trial results came out, Wang Shu stopped Tao Ran outside the court. Thank you, my dad's leg was saved. The Wang family received a total of nearly 300,000 yuan in compensation, which should be enough to complete several operations. If you're really grateful, why don't you just listen to me and be a good person in the future? I will. Wang Shu regretted it. He took the blame, and his father was scapegoated. But because the path they took was too dark, no one believed them, and they didn't dare to ask for a thorough investigation, so they didn't even have a chance to stand in the sun when he went around raising money for his father. He finally realized how absurd the path he had chosen was. Tan Xiao, Lu Hua, and others, I will also persuade them to make progress in the future. In the next 2 years, I will take care of my dad. After that, I want to join the army. If they don't want me, I will go to a technical school. I will not go there again. There's a way. As long as you work hard, you can always earn brighter days. I believe it. Thank you. That day, Chen Jian took his mother home and said that he would find 2 professional caregivers to take care of the old lady in the future, so that the 3 generations of their family could live a good life. Tao Ran was naturally happy. That night, Chen Jian cooked a table of dishes with his own hands, apologized to his mother and daughter respectively, and emphasized that he would take good care of his family in the future. All the money confiscated from Ma Xiaozu was kept by the court as stolen money, so as soon as the lawsuit was over, Tao Ran received 200,000 yuan in compensation. After obtaining Chen Jian's consent, she donated 100,000 each to 2 organizations that prevent domestic violence and protect children. This time, before she left, she saw a little golden light on her fingertips. She thought she probably knew what the golden light that appeared every time was. Just this chapter for today. A new chapter will start tomorrow. Thank you to the book friends whose tail number is 09749, Runda, LMKH, 11 Daudu. The book friends tail number is 40,865, and the book friends tail number is 44,759. I love you so much, thank you. Everyone's monthly votes and recommended votes, how do you compare with them?